Hey, good morning everyone, Tractor Man 44 here. Hey, you know what? It's getting ready to rain, and I've got a little dribble coming into the missus's new laundry room off of the corner of one of the Skylights. Now, I've already been up there and investigated. It's not the metal roof leaking or anything like that. It's not the flashing around the Skylight, but there is a plastic or some kind of a composite material cornering that's actually jeopardized. And so what's happening is going down through the crack in that corner and going in underneath and then ending up down in our room. So what I'm going to do is go up there with some commercial external duct sealant. I'm going to fill that crack inside that void, and then once that pulls all the way out to the surface, I'm going to cover that up with what's called a flexseal spray, and that should take care of the issue. But we won't know until it rains, and it's supposed to be raining within about 2 hours. So wish me good luck, because that's kind of a fun place up there.
Okay, I'm not sure I've been recording at all. So anyway, he's made up on top of the roof. He is repairing the corner. He went up there to investigate and found that it was leaking from not the flange and not the roof, but a little area around it. Some little, I think it might be plastic, that was damaged. Anyway, he's going to fix that and then use Vulcum. He can explain what that is, but evidently it's kind of like... What?
I keep sliding down.
That doesn't make me feel good. You didn't spray your shoes?
Yeah.
All right. This is not one of those disaster films. If you are seeing it, it means everything went well. If you're not seeing it, then you'll never know. I can't hear you. Don't talk. No, don't talk. Just fix the roof and get off.
Not the roof, the Skylight.
Oh, the Skylight. The roof is fine. It's a Skylight. Again, why is the Skylight leaking? It is a funny, hysterical story now, a not so funny story then. So you will have to see if you can get him to tell you the story. It is not mine to tell. Because it's overcast, picture is, I'm hoping, turns out better than what I'm looking at. It was doing fine, and then we had a really dry spell of a month. And then Missouri usually gets rain every 3 to 4 days. So going a month without rain, and temperatures were nearly 100 every day. Not the only part of the country that's had this problem. So we've now gone into a rainy period where we've had rain every day for almost 2 weeks. And I am not complaining. The humidity has stayed with us, though, which, even though the temperature is a little cooler, it's very close outside. But the grass is growing. It could be a good thing or bad thing. Now, what are you spraying it with?
It's going to be the flexseal.
So he's using several different things to make sure it seals. He cleaned it off with I gave him a degreaser, citrus scented cleaner that's supposed to clean off, strip off everything so that things will stick. That's probably the Vulcum there. He's squeezing onto it. I don't know if you can see that. I can only get so close. A little bit closer. Although it may be a view he doesn't really want people to see. Ooh, sorry. A little adjustment goes a long way. That's the chimney off to the left. You can see. It just scared me there for a minute. Whoa. That came surprisingly close.
Bad enough walk across here. I don't want to have to carry that stuff going back down.
Okay. But his putty knife ended up really close down here. As his, I know, just get off the roof. There he goes. It's actually a pretty long walk across this roof. So, that's it. When he flung off one of his other things, it ended up like right by me. So, to show you where it landed, it was even like right exactly where I was standing. So, he's pretty wicked with his throwing.
Well, guys, everything went well. Outside of being a little slippery up there on the roof, because that is a 512 pitch. I don't know if she told you that or not. And there's just a little bit of dust and stuff, you know, from the leaves and the trees and everything that gets on that metal, and it really gets slick. So, you know, you always kind of got to pay attention to where you're at. And that there at the very point, all the way up at the peak, is about 26, maybe 27 feet off the ground. So if you come sliding down off there, you know, you pick up a little bit of speed and you'll come a-tumbling. But at any rate, all's well that ends well. I think I've got everything sealed up. I got that commercial exterior sealant on there and around that crack that's actually in the top of that skylight, and I think we got it under control. So hopefully we'll have that thunderstorm they're promising in about another hour or so, and I'm going to try to get the lawnmower started so the missus can cut grass. Give her something good to do. Well, the missus keeps telling me that I've got to tell y'all the story about the skylight and why there's a little bit of damage on that skylight that's causing the leak. Well, you know, we built our own house, and then of course a number of years later, after we built the house, we built the addition on, and then a number of years after that, the roof's getting bad, so I opted to put a standing seam 24 gauge steel roof in place. You know, replace the shingles and everything. Had a couple of buddies from work come out. We got the job going and everything. They turned it over to me. My son-in-law, my son, and myself went ahead and finished the roof. And of course, there's 4 skylights. There's 2 chimneys, and there's 4 valleys on the roof. And that's kind of a job to do. But at any rate, we had a bit of an issue figuring out the flashing around the skylights and everything, you know. But once we got past that very first one, it was pretty apparent exactly how we had to do that to make sure that they would remain watertight. As we finished the roof, you know, we had some bad weather, but we never had any severe weather or anything. Well, I had just literally set those Anderson skylights on the curbs that are flashed into the roof. Had never even give a thought about going back and putting screws in them to hold them in place. No big deal. Those things are heavy anyway. It'd take one heck of a gust of wind in order to blow one of those off of that curb, because they fit very securely down on that curb. So anyway, we're done with the roof. We're done with everything, you know, and heck, it's months later. And on one Sunday morning, we're here having breakfast. I think the son-in-law, the daughter, and the 2 granddaughters are here. And we got a heck of a fire going and everything, you know. It's nice and toasty in part of the house, but we're in the kitchen, and it's just got one heck of a cold spot. It's like, what is going on here? Why is it so cold in here? So I walked into the fireplace and checked, you know, fire's going good, drawing real good and everything, you know. It's like, well, yeah, I can't figure this out. So I kept looking around, and I looked up at the skylight, and everything's fine. You know, the skylight's a little dingy, you know, because I've been exposed to the elements for so long and everything. Went back, sat down, finished eating breakfast. You know, we're sitting there talking. I said, there has got to be a cold draft. There's got to be something. We got to have a window open or something. So I go back in the far corner where her laundry room is now, that particular skylight, and I just looked up at that skylight, and it's like, man, that thing sure is clear. You know, it's just as clean as could be. Didn't think anything of it. Went back in, thought, well, there's nothing wrong in there. I don't know. I can't figure it out. So at any rate, about that time, the missus came back up from doing laundry. At that time, we had the laundry downstairs, and she had came up from hanging a load of laundry out, you know, on the clotheslines out back. She just innocently, as she come in the kitchen, she just says, why didn't you throw away all the skylights? I thought you got rid of those old skylights. And I said, well, yeah, I did. She said, no, there's one in the backyard. And it's like, there's no way, you know, because I picked all of them up. I got them in a pile out behind the shed, you know. And so I looked at my son-in-law, Mike, and I said, hey, why don't you go in there and take a look at that skylight in that one room back there that's now our laundry room. Why don't you go back in there and see if that's how come it's so doggone cold in here. So we went back and looked, and sure enough, that skylight, there was enough pressure change during that high wind we had during the night to where it literally sucked with that one of those 4 skylights right off, and it slid down that doggone standing seam roof and hit that backyard, and it was 25 foot away from the house, maybe even 30 feet away from the house. But it had set down there, and it had flipped and flopped and everything, and that's what caused that little bit of damage that's on that one corner. Didn't break the glass or anything like that, and but it did. It caused a little bit of a crack in that, and over time, that's kind of given way a little bit, and that's what caused it to start ribbing and leaking. So at any rate, that's about all there is to that story. So that's my fault entirely. And of course, we went ahead, got that, put it on, and screwed them in securely. Went that one in double securely, and went around and screwed all the rest of them at the same time. So then we had 4 securely installed skylights. But they were up there for months, just sitting, just resting real tight on those roof curbs. Can't believe that doggone wind took that one off. So you know what? That's the end of that story. And this is Tractor Man 44. I'm out of here, guys.